Welcome to Healthy Living with Julie. On today's episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about plastic surgery, my experience with it, as well as what to expect. I know that for me it was a really hard decision to make. When I had my first daughter, many years ago, she's 17 now, I was able to lose the weight. I was able to still compete afterwards without any real issues. I did have a natural birth with her. I had a really good pregnancy. Overall, it was a pretty amazing experience, kind of the way we wish pregnancy would always go. With my second daughter, who's going to be 4 this year, again, I had a really good, healthy pregnancy. But near the end, I went over the time, I think about a week past my due date. And my stomach started retaining water quite a bit. I know when my doctor had measured me, within 4 days, it was like an 8 centimeter difference, and she wasn't really sure what was going on. So I was sent to Winnipeg. So in order for my family to come with me at the time, we had to drive. I came home, parked the truck, and didn't put the e-brake on all the way. I went sliding down into the stop sign, broke off my mirror. My heart was pounding. I was so afraid of what was happening. And we drove to Winnipeg. They started inducing me, and her heart rate dropped substantially. And I got rushed to an emergency C-section. I almost died. She almost died. It was a really, really scary experience. I can still recall it to this day. Very traumatic. Anyways, the way that they cut me, as well as after having nursed 2 children, even through working out, proper diet, I could never get my body back to the way that I wanted it, I guess. And I found that really hard on my mental health, because you know, we give birth to these beautiful children and we love them so much, but you know, you got to take care of yourself too. Now, I'm not advocating for plastic surgery, nor am I trying to turn anyone against it. I'm just wanting to share my experience, and hopefully that can help you as well. So I decided that I was going to go and get a breast augmentation, breast lift, a tummy tuck as well. And I went to the First Glance in Winnipeg. My initial consultation was $100. We talked about just some different things that I could do. There's so much out there now. And I mean, not just if you've had pregnancies, but some people lose a lot of weight as well, and just want to get that skin removed, or, you know, even breast reduction as well, which that one is usually covered if it gives you back problems, whereas unfortunately even going through mommyhood isn't covered. It does come with a price. The prices range depending on what you need. I didn't need muscle repair in my stomach. I know a lot of girls that have had that done, and that's an extra cost, but often really helps with your core as well. So I went for my consultation. We went through different sizing, kind of what we were going to do, and then from there, I booked my appointment. You have about 6 months to the time that they give you a quote. I then joined a group that I found on Facebook. It was a mommy makeover group, and I started going through a lot of the posts from other women, and just kind of seeing their experiences, which helped me a lot in making my own decisions, just knowing kind of what they went through. Because even going for a consultation, I mean, they tell you a lot of things, but it's nice to share that experience with other women. And, you know, good and bad, you know, there are a lot of things that can obviously go wrong. And I know that for me, I chose to stay in Canada. I know some people will go to the States or out of country to get surgery done because a lot of times it is cheaper. I don't know how that is with the Canadian dollar now, but I know I wanted to stay in Canada because I had a relative that went to another country, and I don't know if you guys have ever watched the show Botched, but there are a lot of things that can go wrong, and they are very well protected. It's not like you can just sue them, and sometimes you don't even know who's actually working on you in the operating room, so that can be really scary. So for me, I wanted to make sure that I felt safe and that my procedure would go well. And so I went to, like I said, the first glance. They give you a bunch of things to follow in advance for you to know, like things that you can't take within 10 days before your surgery. Just a lot of information, and you go home with thinking, oh my goodness. So the day came, I went in, had pictures taken, they took my vitals, they took really good care of me. The doctor even held my hand as I went out, and it was a really good experience for me. So I've decided to go back a second time. This is my personal choice. It's not that my results are horrible. There's a few things that I do want fixed with my scar, as well as my belly button, and I am going a little bit bigger this time. They say boob envy is a thing. I see it a lot in the group because they say that you lose cc's, which I'll get into as far as sizing goes, because that is also like a pretty big decision. Just things that I would have never known going in the first time, and now going in the next, I feel a lot more prepared. So I'm hoping that that's something that I can share with you, so that if you ever choose to go ahead and do anything yourself, that you're a little bit more prepared than I was. I know for just a tummy tuck, the price ranges, but it's somewhere around $8,000. And then for muscle repair, breast augmentation, everything, you're better off to get more than one procedure done at once, because the fee to get put under is quite high. So if you have to do that a few times, you're going to end up paying a lot more. And really, to recover, I would say just do it at once. I had all three things done at once, and for me, recovery was pretty good the first time. I stayed at a girlfriend's house for 12 days, and I watched a lot of Netflix, but I gotta say the pain wasn't horrible. It was pretty good, and I mean, they give you medication and stuff. Anyways, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back, and I will talk to you a bit more about sizing and expectations. Welcome back to Healthy Living with Julie, my nerve-wracking episode on plastic surgery, which isn't the easiest thing to talk about. There's a lot of stigma around it. I know even when I went for my first surgery, I didn't want anybody to know. I was also in the midst of doing a career change, leaving a company I had worked for 13 years to becoming a personal trainer, and I really didn't want people to judge me on that, because I didn't feel that going for surgery was something, you can't just go and not work at it afterwards. It's not something that just fixes everything. So, I mean, if you have things going on the inside, I would work on those first. You know, if your eating habits aren't the best and, you know, you're looking for that flat stomach, it's not going to give you that if you keep eating the wrong foods, or, you know, if you're not working out, or it's not a permanent thing, it can be undone. Which is kind of why I'm going back a second time, in a sense. First of all, because there's some things that I didn't know the first time around. One of them being you really shouldn't work chest in the gym, which I did, and heavily. You can work upper chest, but with lighter weights. But like flat benching, those types of exercises aren't great because the muscles will push your implants out and affect your results. As well as weight gain. A few months after my surgery, I got into a pretty toxic relationship, and I ended up going back to my ways of when I was a child dealing with sexual abuse, and I ended up eating my emotions for a while. I gained 25 pounds and then lost it, which again affected my results because you end up with more loose skin, more sagging. So I'm going to make sure I take really good care of myself this time around because it does get pretty expensive. Some things, if you go back a second time, revisions, there will still be a cost, but some of it you'll get a discount, or it depends on where you go, who your surgeon is. Everybody kind of does things a little bit differently. Just kind of some things to expect. So before surgery, you'll need a full physical. You need to know that when you do go for surgery, you have to have somebody pick you up. You're in no condition to drive. If you have kids at home, any kind of surgery, I mean, you're not going to be able to lift them for the first little while. They even say don't lift anything over 10 to 15 pounds. So you need to have some help. And really, you know, that's if things go amazing, and how you recover yourself might be different from how I recover. When it comes to sizing for a breast augmentation, the cc's are basically how heavy they are. So in milliliters, that is, I have these rice bags here. So you can measure out some rice in milliliters, and that will give you an idea as to sizing. Now, when it comes to sizing, you can look at however many pictures you want and say, oh, that's what I want. But depending on how wide your chest is, your height, what you currently have, you'll get different results than someone else. So you can take two people side by side that both got 400 cc's, for example, and they might look completely different. One person might have started with a deflated A cup, one person might have started with a D, right? So they might want more or less. But this is something that you can do at home just for fun if it's something that you've thought about getting done. So you would fill this up, take the air out, and put it in your bra and kind of play with sizing and see what's right for you. Now this is just going by the size, but there's also different profiles. I know, it's so much to think about, right? Like lots of decisions, and it's stressful, like really stressful. So there's moderate profile, which is a little bit lower. There's high profile, which is a little bit higher. You have ultra high profile, which gives you kind of that upper pole look. And there's even the extras now. Back years ago, they used to make implants a little bit different. So they had like silicone or saline looking a little bit more fake. I know my doctor only uses Mentor, they're called gummies. They're great because they have silicone on the outside. They have a mixture of both. But if you were to bite into one, which obviously you wouldn't, it would be kind of like just like a gummy bear. And so the way that they're made, if they were to rupture, they wouldn't leak in your body. So they're made way different now, and they last a lot longer too. So in the past, I know a lot of people would go every 10 years. I do go for like a yearly checkup, but nowadays they can last way longer if you're happy with them to begin with. You can also get an internal bra. I'm not sure if you've ever seen, but some people will drop substantially, and so the bra kind of keeps them up a little bit. Also, if you're into working out, you got to think if you're a runner, for example, you wouldn't want to go too big because you might regret it. So there's a lot to think about, like a lot. There's a lot of things that you can't take 10 days prior to surgery, like everything from like Myadol to cod liver oils, like any kind of a blood thinner, you can't take before surgery. There are payment plans as well, so that's always something to think about. Even my exercise post-surgery for the first 6 weeks, I mean, the first 2 weeks is walking only. After that, it's like stationary bike, walking on a treadmill, no above head exercises, no swimming. That's another thing to think about until all incisions are healed. So that could be up to 6 weeks or longer. A lot of things to have on hand afterwards. And they give you prescription medication as well. So lots of things to think about, but I think the most important part is making sure that you have a good support system at home, and really educating yourself. Like I said, I joined the Mommy Makeover group. That really helped me with my decision making. I did a lot of research, and I feel more prepared this time. Now I'm having surgery very, very soon for the second time. And when we come back, you will get to see firsthand how my recovery is going and how surgery went for me this time. Welcome back to Healthy Living with Julie. I've now had my surgery. This is 4 days later. And I have to say, leading up to it, I was a mess. I had so much anxiety, way more than the first time, on choosing size and also if things were going to go okay, because my recovery was pretty good the first time. And then just seeing in different groups and just different people talking about some of their complications kind of had me a little bit scared, even though I knew I was in good hands. I was still scared. I must have called the office a dozen times last week, changing size, and I was a mess. And so I drove up to the city the day before and started to relax a little bit. I had some final workouts at the gym because that was kind of playing on my mind too, that I wouldn't be able to do the one thing that truly makes me happy, and that's going to the gym. It's like a playground for me. So just knowing that I'd have to take it easy and not do those things was hard. Going into surgery, I went in the morning. There was one other girl before me. Got comfortable in a nice comfy chair that massages you in a little room with a TV, and everyone came to talk to me one by one. The nurse, the guy that gives the anesthesia, how do you say that? Oh, the drugs. And the doctor also came to talk to me to reassure me of some things. So that went really well. And yeah, I had my surgery and I woke up, and the first thing I noticed was my stomach was hurting really bad. But on a good note, they managed to take the rest of my tattoo off, which I got done before I was even 16, and I couldn't wait to get rid of that. So that was some good news, and I'm super happy with my results now. Um, but I was definitely super scared. I've been at home all week, um, just kind of doing the bare minimum, lots of TV, making baskets, doing orders, lots of time on my phone, and taking medicine, which I'm pretty much done now. I don't think I need it anymore, which is good. It didn't really affect me all that much anyways, I don't think. Like, I haven't had like a lot of pain. The big difference with this surgery and my last one is my last one I didn't have drains. This one I do, and so I have to empty them, and I have 3, and so I can't shower or anything, but I did manage to wash my hair for this episode over the sink. Sponge baths and whatever, the drain should come out pretty soon anyways. You just have to reach less than 30 mils over 48 hours in order for them to come out. And it's just to make sure that, you know, you don't get an infection and everything else. I know the girl that went before me, unfortunately, ended up in the hospital and needing a blood transfusion because some of the blood pooled in her stomach, and her red blood count, I guess, like really dropped to a dangerous level. So that's super scary, and I've been talking to her lots, and she's supposed to be going home today, so I was really happy to hear that. I had shared the rice bags with you guys. So these are obviously for people who have never had implants. You can use these to size yourself. Now, if you already have implants, you can make up the difference. I did this the week before surgery like a million times with flour or rice, again in milliliters, and make up the difference. So say you were at 400 like I was, and you wanted to go up to say 500 or 600, you would just make up the difference, and then you could see what it, get an idea of what it would look like that way. But I also did take my old ones home. So this is the real thing. So these are high profile 400 cc implants. And if I was to cut into it, which I won't, it would be kind of like a gummy texture, kind of like a gummy bear, which stops it from leaking if ever there's a rupture. So implants have come a really long way as far as safety, and you know, yeah, this is my little basket over here that I've had by me too, because you want to have some of the necessities. For me, it's like gum, my medicine, gravel, which I didn't need. This time I got tramadol and just an antibiotic, just to make sure that I didn't get an infection. The last time I had gotten Percocets, and I didn't like those so much. I found that they made me more drowsy, but I found that with these ones it was pretty good. You get little sheets to keep track of your drains. Again, some surgeons will do drains, some won't. Like I said, I did not have it with my first one, but I did with my second, and I don't know, it makes me feel a little safer too, knowing that anything that doesn't belong in my body is coming out. But I've just been using just a little kid's medicine cup to measure out the milliliters, just to make sure that I know exactly how much is coming out, so that way I know when I can finally get these drains out and jump in the shower. I cannot wait. I think that's kind of the hardest part with recovery. And they also gave me some sheets to fill out kind of like when I'm taking medicine and what times, and also like a survey. They also tell you what not to consume afterwards, things to look out for. There's an emergency number. Like I came straight home, which was like a 3-hour drive right after surgery. No, I did not drive myself. I've had some help. I mean, I'm at home by myself, but I've been fine. My second daughter's dad has been a really good help to me around the house and mailing things for me, mailing packages and stuff. So he's been a great help. I haven't driven yet, but I do plan on going back to work next week. So that kind of tells you I'm doing pretty good considering the fact that I just had surgery. But yeah, they just tell you to make sure you get enough like essential nutrients and everything. Vitamin A, vitamin C, protein is so important after surgery to help heal. Stay hydrated. Don't consume alcohol for 72 hours. Don't drive a car while under the influence. And then there's just like a little kind of like survey just as to how I feel things went and everything. So overall, I couldn't be happier with my results and the way that everything went. I think I was really overstressed for nothing, but I had a whole bunch of other things going on as well. So maybe this is something that you want to explore in the future. Maybe it's totally not for you. I just wanted to share my experience with you for you to see what it's really like. Thanks for watching.